Being an automotive inspector is merging two worlds, the automotive world and the detective world. When I first started off with LemonSquad, I did a few pre-purchase inspections where I went and looked at a car and made sure that it was in good shape, took a bunch of pictures, put in a report and send it off for someone who was looking to buy that car. But then I started doing a lot more. I started doing inspections for warranty companies, arbitration, insurance stuff, and it started to get really spicy. And I'm gonna tell you a couple of stories of what I went through, and they're wild. First off, I'm gonna call it as it is. There's lies, there's corruption, confusion, and also definitely fun. OMG, I have fun when I do this because you're literally showing up to a quote unquote inspection, but to me, I'm showing up like I'm in a crime scene. I'm like, hey, inspector's here. I'm here to look at this car. And usually the way it works is like you get a printout and there's not a lot of information. It just tells you like the oil pan is messed up or the suspension's messed up or it's leaking here and there, but it's never that easy and it's never black and white. And it makes sense because you have to think about what's going on. You have a company, a shop, a business, a dealership. They'll buy a car from an auction, and when they get the car, it's messed up. It wasn't the way that they were told. And of course, some of these cars they're buying from auctions, they are sold as is, but sometimes there's more problems than what was disclosed, and they're supposed to go through like a small inspection at these auctions, but then they get them and they're messed up. So I go there, I verify, yeah, this is messed up, and then, you know, they're able to do their business and their insurance claim with warranty and all that. But sometimes, and this is my opinion, places get cars and they don't like the car for some reason. And yeah, the only way they could kind of get a refund, you know, like on Amazon, you could just send it back. But people are very intelligent. They find loopholes. And the way that they get a refund is by, you know, messing something up that's high dollar. And then at the end of the day, like I'm supposed to show up there and look at it and say, yeah, it's messed up. It's going to cost like 10 grand to fix it. And they get to send the car back or they get a 10 grand check. So to give you an example, I went to go look at a vehicle, no names because I can't legally. They were saying that the rear main seal was leaking. They were saying all kinds of things. It was like the whole car needed to be, the whole engine needed to be taken out and all the seals needed to be done. It was like a $15,000, $20,000 job or something crazy like that. And I looked at it and like, I was like, oh my gosh. Somebody literally just put brand new fresh oil and just poured it all over the engine, as much oil as they could get on it. And so when you took the engine panel off, there was oil all over it and there was oil everywhere. And so what I did is I thought logically, I was like gravity, you know, fluid. So as fluid is going to leak from wherever it's leaking all the way down. And that's how you trace a leak. If you're looking for a leak, you don't look where it's pooling at or it's ending. You want to follow it up. And so I followed all this leak all the way to the top. And you could almost see by using like a little bit of mechanical and experienced forensics that somebody just poured oil from the top around the areas where they were claiming that the engine was pretty much bad. And I figured that out. So I wrote it as I saw it. Whatever happens behind the scenes happens behind the scenes. But I'm pretty sure they weren't happy that somebody figured that out. I don't like that they think I'm stupid. Like they're trying to think that I don't know what they're doing. And most of the time I have way more experience than some of these technicians. And there's situations like that all the time where you have one company who's trying to bill another company, and sometimes their technicians are literally doing stuff on purpose to do that. So it's the way that shops and dealerships are scamming insurance companies is by literally messing things up and then filing it and then, you know, getting paid for it. But the cool thing is when I go somewhere, I literally look for the issue and then I actually research before I even go to the site. So, and that gives me an idea, is this a common issue? You know, does this happen often? Why would this happen? And I look at the mileage, the use. And so I put a story together, and there's been more times than none. Maybe I'm making it more dramatic than it is, but there's more times where it's an honest issue. The shop got a car that was messed up, or there's something wrong with the vehicle, and the technicians didn't do anything wrong. They did their job, and they diagnosed it correctly. But in my experience, now I've done it a lot of times, I feel like it's literally half and half now. So being an inspector is actually kind of like being a detective. And the crazy thing is, you're trying to figure out what's wrong with the car, but behind the scenes, you're also trying to figure out if somebody did it intentionally. But if some red flags pop up, you don't ignore them. And most of the time I figured out, hey, and I got to give you one more story. They wanted to replace somebody's suspension, entire suspension, 10 grand. And all 4 tires were mismatched. 3 of them had nothing left. They were dead. They were over 10 years old. And one of them was like completely like bulging, stuff like that. So you had mismatched tires. They were dead. The manufacturer codes were out of spec. And and not only that, they had alignment wear. So we know the alignment was off. And I didn't balance them, but I'm sure the balance was off. And I'm like, did we address this first before we're saying we have to remove the whole suspension? Because that wasn't even mentioned in the report. So stuff like that is exciting, but also makes you giggle because you're like, come on, man. But the stakes are real. If you think about it, if the shop files an insurance claim or a warranty claim for about $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, somebody has to pay that. And if you think about it, all these like service contracts and warranties that people get, this is kind of the same type of company and same type of industry. If people abuse insurance companies, then people who are not abusing are going to end up paying the bill. So it's my job to go over there, and the job of other inspectors is to be a non-biased, open-minded and professional and technically proficient inspector to make sure whatever is going on is actually the truth. And that's why they have these jobs, and that's why there's a third party that comes in there. And a lot of times the shops, they're not happy you're there, which is fine, because if they want to get paid, somebody has to come inspect it. And it's all really fun if you think about it. And just like being a detective, you're actually preventing a crime, or you're literally trying to avoid somebody preventing a crime, because whenever you are scamming an insurance company, that is a crime. So in a way, I might not be a real detective, but I am considered a car inspector detective, which is super cool, and I like it. And when you really think about it, it's a very unique job, because in the automotive industry, it's not often that you get to use your experience and knowledge to do something like this, which I think is super cool. All right, guys, well, let me know what you think. And honestly, if this is the first time you ever heard about this, this is the life of an inspector. And honestly, it's pretty cool. I love it. It's fun.